are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cowboys. Locked On Cowboys.
I am Marcus Mosher. He is Landon McCool, and this is Locked On Cowboys. We are thanking you guys so much for making us your first listen every single day. Landon, we got some Twitter questions, so I just think we should dive into it. But first, how are you doing today, sir?
Good. I'm excited to take questions as always. Ready to wash Denver off out of my hair and move on, as they say.
Yeah. So we got a couple questions about the game, but a lot, kind of looking forward to this week. But our first question comes from Philip. He wants to know, how do I forget last week? Tell me how to deal with the pain. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and start first, Landon. For me, it's like peanut butter M&Ms and a cherry Coke does the trick pretty well. Just handfuls at a time. What about for you?
Yeah, candy works, especially if you've got leftover Halloween candy that needs to get cleared out. This week, it's got to go. Yeah, we keep telling our daughter. So just eat handfuls of candy. Look, watch any one of the other games on Game Pass. Like it's not hard to go. You don't have to go very far to find good Cowboys football. So you just maybe hop back an extra week or something like that, and you'll see some good Cowboys football.
Guys, we didn't lose for like a month and a half. I know losing sucks, and we kind of forgot how to do it. But it's probably gonna happen again, unfortunately, this season. Just letting you guys know. So find a good coping strategy. Prepare. Load up on peanut butter M&Ms. McDonald's, a sponsor of ours. That's right. All right, next question. This one from Sean. How does the development of the kicking situation alter the game plan for this week? So, in case you haven't heard, Greg Zuerlein tested positive for COVID. It seems pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to play by Sunday. He'd have to have 2 negative tests. But Cowboys brought in an old favorite of ours, Landon, Brett Maher. How do you think it impacts this game? Well,
first of all, can we just talk about how hilarious it is that, normally when you have an outbreak, it's like you worry like the whole wide receiver room is going to catch it. Nobody hangs out with the kicker. Nobody else got it. He was isolated before he even knew about COVID. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, I do kind of take issue with the way that the questioner referred to it as a developing, because it is not developing. It is devolving is what I would say is what it is. Yeah. I think this is a perfect opportunity to kick the ball less. Just go for it on more fourth downs. Unless you're kicking a 35-yarder or in, there's not really much reason to kick if you don't have.
Why are we kicking 35-yard field goals though?
I just don't kick it. I don't know.
That's why I thought the names that they brought in for the kickers to replace Greg Zuerlein were really interesting. It was guys with huge legs, because I think the idea is, Landon,
kickoffs, right?
Kickoffs, and we're only going to use this kicker if we need like a 60-yarder to win the game at the end, and we have no time left. Like, other than that, we're probably not kicking the ball very much.
That
seems
fine to me. I'm good with
it.
And
I know a lot of people brought up Kai Forbath, and there's no doubt that Forbath is a better kicker than Brett Maher, right?
But it's exactly the opposite of what we're looking for, right?
We're looking for something different, right?
Yeah, he's looking for Kai Forbath is a 40 yards and in accurate kicker, doesn't have the big leg that you need for kickoffs. That's more important to what we need right now. Is we just need someone to facilitate the kickoff and then kick when we need to.
And I actually think Forbath is a long-term solution more so than Brett Maher, right? Like, if Zuerlein was going to be out for 6 weeks, I think that's when you think about Forbath, because probably over those 6 games, you're going to want somebody who's a little bit more consistent. But for one game, you can probably deal with the high variance of Brett Maher, right?
Yeah, to get with the trade-off being that you get the big leg for the kickoff.
You get the big leg. You're just going to go into the game plan, not into the week, not expecting to kick anything from 50 yards in, probably not, right? Maybe not even extra points, maybe just going for 2. So
why are you kicking a 50-yard field goal? I'll flip it around like that. Well, unless you're winning the game.
The only reason you're kicking long field goals is at the end of half or at the end of the game, and that's the only option, right?
And again, that's why it changes the angles, right? As opposed to Kai Forbath. If it's just for one game, really, you're just facilitating. And the only time you would ever even need him to kick a field goal is in those kind of situations. But if you talk about multiple games, obviously the more important, the chances of more important kicks coming up increases. And that's when you would want a more reliable kicker.
Correct. All right. Next question. This one's from Tom. What is the right answer at left tackle this week? Tyron.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Which is the least wrong answer is the next question, right?
I don't disagree that I think Terrence Steele will be better this week at left tackle than he was at left tackle last week. It sounds like, according to Duke, who I trust on this sort of thing, that he only got 1 day of practice at left tackle last week. So if he gets a full week at left tackle, I think he will be better. Now, however, better than 9 pressures is a pretty low bar to have. My hope is that they didn't really face a murderer's row of pass rushers last Sunday either, but they're not facing a murderer's row of pass rushers this week. And so you're hoping that the extra reps will help Terrence kind of get over the hump there. Yeah. I understand if they would do it either way, to be honest. I would understand if they wanted to move back Lyle Collins to left or move Lyle to left and then move Terrence.
I thought Lyle was good. I thought he was
I thought Lyle was really good. My concern is if you're really, really concerned about Terrence Steele, I could see why you would want to flip him back, but I think that it's probably better for the team long term to try to have Terrence get through this game at left tackle and then just slide Tyron Smith into that left tackle spot once he's ready to play. I mean, we're going to go all the way to a full year, it feels like, before we get this starting offensive line playing together again. It's been almost an exact full year. You think that'll be the next time
we see it?
I'm starting to wonder, I think the problem is that if this lingers into next week and beyond, then you start having to worry about normal player management, right? Because you've got, 3 games in 14 days or whatever it is. It's like, it's totally ridiculous.
Like that. Yeah.
So you have to wonder, if you've been keeping him out week to week, how is he going to handle those games, that stretch of 3 games? So I think that they have to now expand their thinking about their maintenance with him to include, how do we get through those 3 games? Do we need to hold him out for one of those 3? Do we hold him out for the next 2 games?
It's 3 games in 12 days, by the way.
12 days. 12 days. It's just, every time I hear it, it's just nuts. But yeah, so I think that they really need to kind of figure out a long-term being 3 to 4 weeks, how they want to, or not 3, because it's 12 days. You need to get through, figure out what your plan is for those 3 games.
That's why I think
incorporate it into what's going on.
That's why I think the plan should be to try to bring him back on Thanksgiving against the Raiders for a couple different reasons. If you try to bring him back next week against Kansas City and then try to have him play on Thursday, that's just a really quick turnaround. But if you have him play on Thursday against the Raiders and then the following Thursday, that's almost like a normal week for Tyron, right?
And then eventually he gets an extra days as we get
right. After the Saints game, he would get an extra couple days. I think that's the way to go, but that means you got to survive the next 2 games. Atlanta's not super concerning because they don't have the edge rushers to really make the Cowboys pay. Kansas City does, with Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram. That's an interesting one. I think the Raiders are the one where they really need him because they've got Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby. So you need Tyron healthy in that game. I just wonder if that's going to be the plan for them going forward. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so too. And the hope with Kansas City is that you'll be running all over them, that you won't need to throw the ball too much anyway. So we'll see.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll answer some more Twitter questions. But before we do that, we want to tell you guys about Get Upside. Our listeners are making up to 25 cents per gallon on every single gallon of gas every single time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code Touchdown and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. You can cash out at any time using your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card. Just download the free Get Upside app and promo code Touchdown to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. That is promo code Touchdown. All right, Lana, let's get to some more questions. This one from Mark. He wants to know, are you guys worried that the defense hasn't forced a turnover in the last 2 weeks, and that was a major part of the early season success?
I love it. Keep that expectations high. Look, I think teams are being more careful about, throwing loosely at Trayvon Diggs. They're making sure these guys are open. I think that, they definitely need to get back to committing turnovers or playing the kind of football that they were playing against the Vikings. So I don't think it's realistic to necessarily always expect turnovers. I think it would be nice to be able to maintain like a 1 to 2 turnover per game pace, but you can't always have that. So I don't know if it's concerning, but I think it is concerning in combination of when they're not, committing turnovers, they need to be able to get off the field. And that's when you're not doing either of those things, when you're not able to get off the field on third downs and you're not committing turnovers, that's where you should be concerned when you have that combination, because ultimately, there's no pathway for getting them off the field and other than them kicking field goals or scoring touchdowns.
I'm not that concerned about it because last week's game script was awful. I actually thought the defense did okay in the first half, kind of creating opportunities for the offense, right? Like very first drive, it was a 3-and-out, and they actually lost 10 yards. They did score a touchdown in the next one. They scored not a touchdown in the next drive, but it was a short field. And then they forced a punt, field goal, punt, field goal, missed field goal. Yeah. I mean, like they did a decent job of trying to get them back on track. And then after a certain point, it just kind of started to snowball. So like they did a fairly decent job of getting stops, and they blocked the punt, which should have been a turnover, which should have given the Cowboys a short field. I'm just not worried about it. I think once the Cowboys get into a better game script, they'll be fine.
They did a good job at many different points of that game of getting putting Denver behind the chains on different spots. Mm-hmm. The problem was finishing on third downs or
finishing on second and 20.
Second and 20s. Yeah, exactly.
3 times second and 17 or worse, and they got a huge chunk play.
Yeah, you can't allow that.
Can't allow that. All right, next one. This one is from @UpperDeck08. He wants to know, with a long season, would bringing in a viable third back with the intention of utilizing him alongside a healthy Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott be wise? So basically, should the Cowboys consider adding another running back to their stable? To me, the answer is yes, but it depends on the player. I don't necessarily think they need another scat back, right? And I'm not calling Tony Pollard a scat back, but they don't need James White or, somebody like Duke Johnson. They don't need that type of player. They actually could probably use another player to help Zeke with some of the inside running. That's where I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, where they may be missing is a guy like Seo Olanalua, where they trusted him actually getting the ball at times, and I don't know if they were going to give him, even 10 carries in a game or anything like that. But maybe if you're up a couple touchdowns, that's the guy that you're feeding the ball to kind of, finish games just to give Zeke a break. I think it would have been useful to have another guy on the roster that's, is either a special teams guy who, like a Rod Smith.
I was going to say Rod Smith, our favorite guy, Rod Smith. He would have been what Rod Smith could provide. The flexibility that a guy like Rod Smith provides to your roster is incredible. And that's exactly the kind of player you want, right? Like the Cedric Wilson of running backs, right? A guy that is going to be able to do all the other things that you need these down roster receivers to do. But he's also, when his number gets called, he steps up and he plays really good football. That's what the Cowboys need at their third running back. And I think, until then, it's kind of pointless just to sign a guy who is just a running back only, you know what I'm saying? Because he's going to take up a roster spot, not get a bunch of carries and cost you, not cost a lot of money, but it's just like, what are you ultimately paying that guy for? You need somebody who is going to be able to
be rosterable on Sundays. And that means that he's going to need to be able to do more than just be a running back. He's going to need to play special teams as well.
Couple of things. So, like, the Cowboys do have a guy on their team that right now, Corey Clement. They could use him more if they needed to on offense. So, they possible. What you're looking for is like a Brandon Bolden type of player that New England's had for the last, 5 or 6 years, right? Core special teamer, but when he gets into the game on offense, it's not going to hurt you and can carry 10 times if you need to. The absolute perfect version of this player that we're talking about from the early 2000s.
Oh my God.
The Cowboys is Richie Anderson, right?
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to think of somebody else. Go ahead.
Well, who are you going to say?
Well, I thought Tashard Choice was really good in this.
Oh, Choice is a good one. Yeah.
Because he played good special team. Philip Turner is another guy who I think that, we still follow on Twitter. He's a great Twitter follow if you haven't followed him. But he was really good in that kind of third running back special teams player. Those are two other guys. Just someone in that mold who knows the offense.
I was saying Richie Anderson because he could literally play multiple positions for you.
Anderson,
your fullback, your third down guy, right?
Anderson is like what you hoped someone like Seo Alanalua could be.
Yeah. That's like the A+ version of that player,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like Anderson's a guy that, if there ever was to be a superstar in that role, Richie Anderson was that guy, right? Because there's not just no one respects that third running back, sometimes fullback, special teams ace position, but Richie Anderson was about as good as it comes with that position.
I agree. Man, I love Richie Anderson. Yeah. And Rod Smith was like that. That's probably the reason why we were huge Rod Smith fans, is because he can be a running back, he can be a fullback, he's going to help on kick returns, he's going to play every special teams unit.
But if he got the ball in his hands, he could make something happen too. Yeah, like it wasn't just like, player. You're throwing away a carry or throwing away a reception with Rod Smith. He could actually do something with the ball.
I want to know your guys' favorite like third string running back the Cowboys have had over the years, because Tashard Choice is a good one. I didn't even think about that one. Was it Tony Thompson the Cowboys had for a while?
Yeah, Tony Thompson.
Remember him? Really, he was a big preseason guy.
He could move. That guy could run.
He was
sure.
fast, man.
Yeah, he was.
So tell us your favorite kind of third running back that the Cowboys have had over the last 30, 40 years. I want to hear your answers. Let's do one more break and we'll come back and answer some more questions. You guys had a lot of good questions today, and I want to make sure that we answer as many as we can. But before we do that, Built Bar. It's the best tasting protein bar out there. You guys know that. Real chocolate, amazing flavors. It's just a great combination of low calories, high protein, and low sugar with no crazy additives. Best of all, they taste fantastic. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your next box at BuiltBar.com.
Brownie coconut. Brownie
coconut. Brownie coconut. Coconut brownie chunk, as I think is what it's called. It's unbelievable. All right, next one. At Ball from Grace wants to know, I keep seeing people blame Dak Prescott's performance on the lack of practice. Why would we think this is the case when he didn't throw for most of the preseason and still looked far sharper in the opening game?
Oh, that's a good point. I think that his timing is just, and it wasn't just. Let's be clear. I don't think it's just Dak. I mean, I think the problem was that the wide receivers were injured too. If you remember, like each one of the wide receivers, well, not Cedric Wilson, but I mean, we thought that Gallup might play last week, but Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper were all on the injured list in some way. So I think, at different points they were limited themselves. And I think it's both of those facts that both of them were not getting full reps this week together in the offense that just kind of disrupted the timing a little bit. And then let's also pull some of this back. I mean, I think we talked about this in the All 22 review that, when Dak was off, it was Dak's sloppy footwork. So, that to me, when I see Dak's sloppy footwork, that to me means that he didn't get enough reps. He wasn't, exactly sharp there.
Or so not that's reps at 100%. They probably just didn't want to push his calf more than he needed to, right?
So those are specifically like what we saw on the tape that made me say that reps I thought were something of an issue there. Now, to flip that around on the wide receivers, I think you can say the same thing as to why Cooper's dropping a wide open first down conversion on third down. Why, I mean, I can't really say the same thing for Pollard because he practiced all week. Pollard dropped one of those passes, but CeeDee Lamb also did. So, I think that there is sharpness issues that are not just Dak's alone, right? That were caused by the other guys also not practicing and also not being in sync with the offense.
I agree. I just think I was talking with a couple of people on Twitter this morning about, why did the Cowboys leave him in? I think you were right yesterday talking about how he needed those reps to just kind of get himself back into a rhythm, work on the footwork. And we did see it improve as the game went on.
Yeah.
But I think basically just being off for 3 weeks and being in a boot and not going full speed at practice and not working on stuff inside the pocket messed him up a little bit. But I expect him to be better this week.
I also think it helps you get onto the right foot for this week of practice, right? If you feel like you were doing it by the end of the game, you go into next week of practice like, okay, I need to start strong. I know I can do this. I just did it at the end of this game. I just need to kind of continue building on what I finished the game with, basically.
Yeah, I agree. A couple more questions, but before we do that, Landon, we got a little report from Cowboys practice today that their long snapper, Jake McQuaid, he was being held out just as a precaution because of Greg Zuerlein. We kind of joked about Zuerlein not having any close contacts. It doesn't seem like McQuaid is one.
Okay, good.
But did you see Bones Fossil talk about their emergency kickers for this week?
No, I didn't. Is it Biotish?
It is Biotish, actually.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, please let the big man kick. Please let the big man kick. I think it's
hilarious if they got to a point in the game where it was clearly that you were going to win and they let him kick like an extra point. Like, how much fun would that be?
I love how this team loves big men. I love it. They play big men at running back. They play big men at kicker. I love it. I can't wait till Zach Martin takes snaps and throws the football.
They actually said it's between the emergency kicker would be, this one's surprising me. It's Biotish and Azur Kamara is the other one.
Soccer player, I bet.
I bet that's why I bet what it is as well. All right. This is
wait, real quick. You're the Raiders guy. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Where's Jeff Heath?
Free agency. He's out there. You can go get him right now.
Maybe we can go try him out for.
We already have a million other guys, but safeties. All right. So this question from Chris, a really fun hypothetical. If Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn both leave, again, I don't really want to talk about this.
That's not
much,
fun.
This is the next part that I find fascinating.
Okay.
Name one dream candidate for each to replace them. I've got one for offense. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. Wouldn't that be great?
I've already penciled him in as the 2022 Cowboys offensive coordinator. Because I don't think Quinn will leave. I mean, he's done a great job, but I don't know. He's going to turn right back around.
You have to have a very specific situation for Dan Quinn to leave, in my opinion. Right?
So let's roll back again with the 2018 Atlanta Falcons. Let's do it, baby. Come on.
A couple of weeks ago, you could have convinced me Vic Fangio, maybe for the defense coordinator, but he can get all the way out of here. I'm over Fangio. Get him out of there.
Absolutely.
Al Harris for defensive coordinator has done a pretty good job.
I mean, if we're going to talk about realistic candidates, George Edwards, I think, would probably be maybe above him. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I would think Doug Nussmeier probably would be your most likely candidates. And
would be fine.
They're not flashy, but it would be a continuation of what you see already to a large degree. So,
Matt Nagy do anything for you?
No, not really.
I mean, he'll be out there.
Look, if he's looking to make a lateral move, we could always call up Eric Bieniemy and see what he's got going.
Sure.
So
all right, well, there you go. Try to see if we have any more questions this week. We've talked about free agency. People want to know about, are the Cowboys going to, who they're going to bring back? Are they going to franchise tag Randy Gregory? We've talked about that a lot, so I don't think we need to.
Famous new Cowboy Odell Beckham Jr. will be signing with those very. It's funny whenever. It's funny because the Cowboys always get added to those lists, right? They all whenever there's a new free agent, the Cowboys are always on the list, no matter what, just for clicks, right? Yeah. I haven't seen that with Odell Beckham Jr. this time.
Thank goodness. Maybe the fan base is getting smarter. All right, last question. This one's from Joshua. Let's reset the Cowboys after their loss on Sunday. What are you predicting the Cowboys' final record to be this year?
Well, they're 6-2, so they've got about 9 games left, right? Is that right? 9 games?
Yep.
6. Yeah. I would say that they end up.
You want to do their schedule? We can go through it really quickly. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Home against the Falcons.
Win.
Okay. At Kansas City.
Let's say loss.
I think that's fair. So we are at 7-3. home against the Raiders on Thanksgiving.
Win.
Okay, so you're at 8-3. Next game, at the Saints a week from Thanksgiving. It's a tough game. Even though they don't have Jameis Winston, it's a tough game.
Let's say loss.
Okay, so you're 8-4. At Washington,
win.
9-4. At the Giants,
win.
10-4. Home against Washington,
win.
So 11-4. Home against the Cardinals on January 2nd. Let's be conservative. Just give it a loss.
Okay. All right.
So what are we at now? We're at
11-5, right?
11-5, and then
yeah.
So then they play the Eagles at home Eagles on the road in week 18. So we're thinking like what? Somewhere between 11 and 12 wins conservatively.
Yeah, 12-5 sounds right to me. I definitely think they could win that Kansas City game. I definitely think they can win the Saints in Arizona. I mean, they could win all of those games. None of those games are like that. Kansas City game isn't the same as what we expected that Kansas City game to be at the beginning of the season. Yep. The Saints game, it's just the Saints are just such a well-coached team, and that's a tough place.
It's the atmosphere. It's a night game in New Orleans, right?
I think the Cowboys, if the Cowboys offense is cooking, I think that they could win that game. And Arizona, I don't know if I trust that Arizona is going to be as good a team at the end of the year as they are.
That's an interesting matchup for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
Like I'm interested in how they just match up schematically. Like they play a very interesting brand of football. How do they match up on defense? Without JJ Watt, what are the linebackers looking like at that point of the season? That's going to be an interesting game. So we're still thinking, even though we lost on Sunday, Landon, 12 wins is certainly in the realm of possibilities, and hopefully at least a 3 seed, because I'm telling you right now, you do not want to be the 4 seed in the NFC. That's an awful spot to be in, because that means you're probably hosting the Rams in the first round of the playoffs. I don't think you want that.
Yeah. Or you're going to the Rams, right? I would assume.
No, if you're the 4 seed, you'll play the number 5 seed, right? The highest wild card.
I see what you're saying.
Could probably be the Rams if they don't win.
Because the Cardinals. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, that's not preferable.
There's an actual chance, like if you are, let's say, the 2 or 3 seed, you might be playing like the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs, or the Falcons in the first round of the playoffs.
Eagles are within striking distance of making the playoffs.
I mean,
God, it's crazy that the haves and the have-nots in the NFL. It's
unbelievable. Once you get past the top 5 teams, it's like here's your contenders for 6 and 7. It's Minnesota, it's Seattle, who is 3-5 right now without Russell Wilson. It's Philadelphia at 3 wins. It's the Giants at 3 wins, and it's the Panthers with 4 wins. That's your list of teams.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, jeez.
That's why the 2 and 3 seed are going to be so important this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I do think that there's something to the idea that you need to win through that, and you can't always have – not the easiest path in the playoffs is not always the path that gets you the most ready to win the Super Bowl. Let's put it that way, I guess. But I do think that you shouldn't be trying to play for the most difficult path either.
Well, it's just if the options are I get to play the Falcons or the Rams in the first round of the playoffs, my goodness – that's
got to win that extra game or two, right? It's just that's the difference.
It's a huge difference. All right, that is it for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, thank you for making us your first listen every single day. I'm Marcus Mosier. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosier. He is Landon McCool at McCoolBCB. You can follow us on Twitter at Locked On Cowboys. Wherever you get your podcasts, they're available on YouTube. Please check us out. We've got a crossover podcast coming tomorrow. And then we've got our Week 10 preview, Cowboys-Falcons on Friday. We will see you guys then.